Right, here goes nothing. What's going on, everybody? Charlie here from Collecting Claridge. You join me today as at long last we are finally at that point in the year where we can start talking about TFNation. Today we're going to talk about TFNation, have a little rundown of the event, get a vibe of what's going on, look at the guests and all the rest to see who's going there, and talk about my hopes and fears. Got a lot of hopes. I'm very excited for it this year. Very excited to get back to YouTube and start talking about Transformers again. And I'm very, very excited, as always, when August rolls around, to start talking about TFNation. Oh, and screw you, Johnny, mate. It's up before the com, so yeah, you owe me a pint. So for those of you that have never done a TFNation before, formerly Auto Assembly, then in about 2016, 2017 time was rebranded and remade into TFNation. Europe's largest Transformers convention, held over at the Hilton Metropole on the NEC site over in Birmingham. If you're a Transformers figure collector, and love to kind of buy just general bits of Transformers merchandise from G1 to Beast Wars to RID to Transformers Prime in the movies, it's brilliant for you. You're going to love it. Full weekend event, runs from a Friday to a Sunday. A lot of people though, they tend to kind of extend the weekend out. They'll do it from like a Thursday to a Monday, or maybe like a Friday to a Monday. You don't have to do the full weekend. You can get a single ticket for just a Saturday or a single ticket for just a Sunday. They have events on the ClubCon for the evening where they normally have like a live script reading, a few different panels and bits. They'll have like a quiz and other little fun activities. Some years they'll even have like live bands and artists performing music, which is always really cool. So you're actually going to join me live now as I figure out what the hell's going on at TFNation this year. And I kind of see what I'm going to kind of be doing this year and see what I'm going to get a vibe for and what I fancy attending, because I don't normally do loads of the panels and that, but this year I might mix it up a little bit. We shall see. I've been going to TFNation since it was Auto Assembly. I think I had my first one at about Auto Assembly 2012, I want to say. I think I went for the day there, and then I think, in about 2014, 15, I ended up going for the full weekend. And when it was rebranded and kind of rebooted as TFNation, I ended up doing the full weekend like ever since. Like, even though the COVID years kind of hit, and I think it was 21 and 22 maybe that we didn't have a con. No, 2020, sorry, and 21. That takes me back. Basically, other than that, I've been there the full weekend pretty much since. I am indeed going for the full weekend this year. A lot of times if people do like a hopes and fears video, they'll say like, what time you get in there, what's your drink of choice, what's your hopes, what's your fears, what you're going to get this year. So the first question I'm going to answer out of all of that is I will be getting there I'm going to be getting there about 12:30 on the Thursday, which is something that I've never really done. A lot of times I'll do like the Friday to the Monday. Most years we do. But this year we're going to mix it up. This year we're going to try the Thursday to the Monday, really make a great big weekend of it. Kind of do what they do with a lot of festivals, where it is literally like a great big Thursday right the way through to like Monday, Tuesday or whatever. And hopefully by the end of this video, I'll have convinced you to come. Right, so first off, I think we're going to have a little look at the guests. We'll have a little look at the guests, then see the schedule and all the rest to see what's actually kind of occurring at the convention. Got a few of the artists here. We have Alex Milne, Andrew Wildman and Ed Perry. Apologies if I butcher anybody's names. I'm terrible, just bear with me. I haven't got my glasses on yet and I don't know where I've put them, so just roll with me for a minute. Roll out with me, in fact. Mr. Evan Michael Lee, who voiced Jazz in Transformers 1, he will also be going along this year. We love a voice actor, we love TF1. Such a shame that they're not going to be going ahead and doing a sequel, or at this moment in time they're not going to be going ahead and doing a sequel. With a bit of luck, the second that I finish recording this video, I'll have to make another little edit because it'll been announced that like Netflix have picked it up for a sequel. But it'd be cool to have a little chat with him, maybe get a bit of a vibe as the behind the scenes of that, and maybe his take on what a sequel could look like. Jack Lawrence, James Roberts, and Jim Sorensen, of course, icons of TFNation. Anybody who goes there will obviously be watching this and they'll all be knowing that those guys are kind of long-term regulars. Jim Sorensen, you just kind of wander around and you'll see like a hat, and then you'll think, they're a tall guy wandering around in the crowd, massive crowd of people all searching through bins for Transformers. And then you'd see a hat and you think, yeah, there's Jim Sorensen. John Paul Bove, Marcelo Matry, I'm butchering that. Simon Furman, Nick Roche, again, big names in the community. Mr. Simon Furman, of course, a very big name. Regulars as well, but we do love these gents and people that I've not really actually met that much, to be honest. And we, of course, have Mr. Scott McNeil making a return to the convention this year. Of course, famed for characters such as Dinobot and Rat Trap. Honestly, going to be a personal favourite of mine. I love Beast Wars. I love those characters. I've heard, like, one of my mates I know, Matt, like, said that he met him at Auto Assembly one year, and he said that, like, he was just kind of stood there just talking to him, and he was just like flicking through all the different voices, and like one minute he was Dinobot, then he was Rat Trap, then he was Waspinator, then he was doing X, Y, and Z, and it was just like he was just like flicking through all these different characters. He said he was so like bouncing off the walls kind of energy and kind of vibes. So I'm looking forward to meeting him and having a bit of a chat with him. Miss Sophia Mars, of course, of Transformers Age of Extinction fame, will be attending this year as well. Another one that I'm definitely going to be meeting because, yes, okay, she was cool in Age of Extinction, don't get me wrong. but it's Madame de Pompadour from Doctor Who, and as you're going to find out over the next sort of few months, I also quite like a bit of Doctor Who. And last but not least, the big one, the reason why I watched all of Robots in Disguise 2001 earlier on this year, Mr. Neil Kaplan will in fact be attending TFNation this year. Neil Kaplan actually sent me a little voice recording once a while ago. I think at like TFNation 2012 or 13, I could only do one of the days. And then the next day, Matt recorded me a little video of Neil Kaplan basically asking where I was.
I fly 5,000 miles, buddy. What is this? You just, you don't like Optimus Prime? You don't like Robots in Disguise?
It's the most bonkers Transformers series I think going. It really is weird. It's like a mix of like G1 and Beast Wars. You know, there's Autobots and Predacons in there. And of course, rest in peace, good old Peter Spellos as Skybite. What a fantastic character. And that does indeed wrap it up for the people attending this year. Should we have a little look at the schedule? Oh, hello. And he wears glasses as well, does he? The pre-registration for the event opens up at about 10 AM if you want to go there and collect your tickets, collect your lanyards and all the rest, and buy any other little bits of merchandise that they have. They'll have all sorts of random bits and pieces. You can buy like t-shirt, posters, little key rings, teddy bears, all that sort of stuff. I normally end up buying one or two little knick-knacky bits, and they sometimes have like bits from like previous years if you didn't end up getting like last year's leaflet or like a poster from a few years back. They'll have all sorts of cool bits and pieces like that. You can actually spend quite a bit of money just from like the first registration bit, so be careful. At 11 o'clock, there's a bit of a meet the team, kind of a bit of a semi-introducing, opening ceremony kind of thing, I guess, which would be pretty cool. 11:30, 64 Shades of CMYK, okay. From star matching 1980s Marvel tunes to add the modern twist to the very latest incarnations of the Transformers. John Paul Bove has done it all. Oh, okay, a bit of like a comic panel, that'd be quite interesting. 1:30, Forging Your Own Path. So the Forge is an interesting bit where basically anybody who does like customized bits and pieces and like 3D prints bits and pieces and, you know, handcrafts, all the rest, they have their own little setups and own little stalls. So that'll be a nice little introduction to the Forge if you've never seen anything like that. 2:30, we have a nice little sit down behind the scenes with Toyfu, who are a charitable organisation. Every single year they try and hit different totals and all the rest, and I think this year they want to hit, I think it's about $250,000 they want to hit as a lifetime running total. So let's get them there. Let's get those guys there. They're a brilliant bunch of guys. You get all sorts of cool bits and pieces at Toyfu, loads of random old bits and pieces, and trust me, there's some really random bits they have there. So go check out Toyfu and make sure you pick something up. And at 7 PM, they've teamed up with Cineworld to do a nice little screening of TF1. That'd be something which I haven't actually really had a proper look into yet, I'm not going to lie. But I think I might actually be inclined to, if I need to get a Friday ticket, buy the Friday ticket and then buy the Admit 1 ticket for that as well, because we were planning on sitting down and watching TF1 at the convention, and it would be really, really cool to watch it in the cinemas again and watch it surrounded by other Transformers fans. So I think I would quite like to do that, and I think there's also a poster going, and Evan Michael Lee's doing like a little introduction to it and all that, so that could be pretty cool. Maybe have a little sit down and have a little look at that. That could be pretty cool. On the Saturday morning, the Trader Hall officially opens at 9:45 for early access and 10:45 for general access. This year I think I went for the general access. To tell you the truth, it was a little bit less to go for the general, and I thought, I'm not really that fussed about getting in like an hour early. I'd rather save that money for another few figures and have a bit of a lay-in. A recap with Neil Kaplan, the voice of the heroic Optimus Prime, that would be good. One of the other comic artists at 1 o'clock is having another little spotlight panel. That'll be very interesting. At 3 o'clock, Sophia Miles has a panel going on there. That could be quite an interesting one, actually, learning a bit more about her work, hearing a bit more about maybe Tom on Doctor Who. Wouldn't mind seeing a bit more of that, possibly. And at 5 PM, the Trader Hall officially closes along with the panel room. And at 7 PM, at long last, the ClobCon officially opens. And at 7:20, the Pretenders cosplay officially takes the stage. It's basically an event where anybody who cosplays at the convention has the chance to enter into the cosplay parade and win the prize. They have loads of different like categories, you know, from like mech to humanized to like I think it's also then like, you know, like different like inspired vibes and like part human Transformers and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, if you're cosplaying, have a little think about maybe entering into the competition. That could be interesting. And at 8 o'clock, we have the Matrix test, which Mr. Chris McFeely will be taking the stage for from Transformers The Basics. And oh my God, it is just the hardest thing ever. I mean, I claim to be a Transformers fan and a nerd, but I just go to pieces on that. Like, they just ask you questions from the most obscure things ever. I love you, Mr. Chris McFeely, but you just make me look so dumb. It's my fault for not reading up on my lore, really. You can blame me. At 8:40, they have a charity auction, which again, they throw out some of the most random things you have ever seen. but they do have some really interesting bits and pieces going. Like I think like last year they had like different like prototypes and bits and pieces from different like eras of the shows, and the films and all the rest. And then maybe there'll be like different signed pieces and all the rest from different voice actors and artists from over the years. So yeah, if you're planning on like parting with quite a bit of money, check that out in the evening. Like there's some people end up spending like stupid money. I think last year, I think the most someone spent something like $3-4 grand on something. I think it got like that major, or one of the years it got like to that point. So yeah, if you're after like really obscure and kind of one-off items, the charity auction is kind of for you. The Transformers, the cartoon that never was. Marvel Productions commissioner, writer Jeffrey Scott, took a totally different take on the franchise. Oh, right, okay, so this one's interesting. This is basically like what could have been and what was originally envisioned for the show. A bit of like a blueprint, a bit of a kind of take on what the show originally was going to look like. And apparently there's also going to be a script and all the rest, which is interesting. But the best part about this is they're also going to be doing a pre-recorded full cast performance of the original what was originally going to be the G1 episode, which is going to be quite interesting. So that'll be good. They kind of do a lot of stuff like that, which is nice. I think last year they did something kind of similar where they did released a load of audio tracks from like different artists and people that were going to take on the role of Wheelie in the movie, which was really good. And at 11 p.m, the Club Con officially closes, and that is the con done for the Saturday. Let's go to the bar. And on Sunday, which is sadly the final day of the convention, the panel room opens up at 8:30. They have a 9 a.m. session talking about what's going on at TFNation on that day, which will be very nice. Blokies, who produce these very nice little mini lads, will be doing a little talk there as well, which will be very, very interesting. I've been buying 1 or 2 of these lately, and I plan on getting a few more of them because they are really cute. And they're just a vibe. I mean, they don't transform. I'm not really a fan of figures that don't transform. You know, to me, a Transformer should transform, but I'm going to give these guys a exception because they're really, really nice, they're really cute, and they're just a bit Moorish, and we do love a blind box figure, don't we? The Trader Hall officially opens up at 10 a.m. What else have we got going on? There's a quiz. That'll be very interesting. Dave Wallace will be doing that at 10 a.m. Evan Michael Lee is doing another panel, which will be interesting, talking about voice acting. Jim Sorensen at 3 o'clock is talking a little bit more about artwork throughout the franchise. He did a really cool book a few years ago, The Transformers Legacy, the Art of the Transformers book. I haven't got that, but everybody says it's really nice, and it's basically just like loads of illustrations and pictures of all the different artwork and bits throughout the different eras. So that'd be a nice book to get at some point. And finally, the Trader Hall officially closes at 4 p.m, as does the chill out room as well. So the convention sort of finishes at 4 p.m, but that isn't all. Mr. Scott McNeil at 4 p.m. is doing another panel, Constructicon, which is basically kind of like one of like the last bits that they do throughout the year, where it's like, let's give a little bit of feedback, let's talk about a few things which didn't work, and have a little bit of a chat with the team. And finally, at 5:30, it is the closing ceremony where they wrap everything up. Fingers crossed they announce next year. They usually do, but not going to count my chickens, but I'm 99% sure we're going to be getting a convention next year. What am I looking to buy this year? That is a question on everybody's mind. What's on the wish list? So it's a difficult one because like I kind of hit a point where I stopped using wish lists. Kind of hit a point where I was like, do you know what? Go in there, see what you fancy, see what you're feeling. It'd be better if I didn't hit my shelf, wouldn't it, and knock all the figures that I currently have down. Legacy Cosmos. They did like a remake, a reissue of Legacy Cosmos. It was originally like the, was it like Speed 500? They've done so many sublines, I really don't care. But they did a reissue of that, which is still in Smith's as we speak, and I would quite like to get that at some point. I'll probably buy it at TFN. Legacy Deluxe G1 style Optimus Prime, which is basically just a toy version, but less metal, downgraded and more articulation. I think it's about time that I go ahead and get a Scrapper as well. I do like those new Constructicons, I must admit, so they're ones which I'm after. Oh, this is difficult, isn't it? You've really put me on the spot here now. A bit of a Holy Grail purchase, like semi kind of Holy Grail, would be a Prime Deluxe First Edition Cliff Jumper. Ideally, if I could get one brand new and sealed, that would be nice. I'm not looking to pay stupid money for one though, but if I could get one, or at least loose and decent condition, that would be nice. And then like Studio Series Dinobots, I still need Slug and I still need Snarl. I know they are doing a reissue of Snarl at the least. I know Slug kind of had a reissue, but I think they're doing like a full package refresh of Snarl from what I've heard. So if I find one there for like 40-50 quid, I'll go for it. If not, I can just wait. Like I'm not in that much of a rush for Snarl, but I would really love to try and get Slug unless they do announce a reissue at some point between recording this video. Age of the Primes wise, I would quite like Solus Prime, maybe Megatronus the Fallen. Maybe Alchemist Prime, I might like dip my toes a little bit into those guys. Don't think I'm going to go ahead and commit to the new aerial bots. They're not really doing loads for me. I like them, but I'm kind of still happy with the Combiner Wars ones. Wouldn't mind the Studio Series 86 Deluxe Bumblebee, the one which turns into like the, it's a bit more of like a smaller, compact, not quite Beetle. Because the Netflix one was like a full-on proper Beetle mode, whereas like this one, it's a little bit more compact, a little bit more cartoon accurate. They did the Legacy, it was in like the, one of like the Worlds Collide sets that they did. It's the Legacy animated cliff jumper that they did, which is like the repaint of the Bumblebee mold which they did. So that one's quite cool. I wouldn't mind maybe getting like one or two of the Studio Series Junkions. I've got Wreck-Gar. I can't remember all the names of them, but there was one or two of them that they did which you kind of used in that mold, which is still really, really nice. And again, maybe one or two of the Legacy Junkions if I see them there. Maybe get one or two more of them, so that could be quite cool. But I'll turn the camera off and then I'll start thinking about all the other figures which I do actually want to buy. I might make a bit of a wish list, I will see. Cosplaying. So last year I cosplayed my Nest Soldier. This year I plan on doing that one again. If I can, I want to maybe get a few other little bits and pieces for it, maybe some knee pads, maybe like some shoulder pads, and maybe some sort of like radio walkie-talkie or something like that. I want to maybe kind of take that back to TFNation this year. It's a Transformers themed cosplay. I don't have anything else really in the works Transformers wise at the minute. So it would be cool to take that one back to TFNation, and it's a cool vibe, I like it. I'm literally looking on the TFNation Instagram page now, making sure I haven't missed anything, because I say the last time I recorded this, I literally went online and like they'd announced so many more bits and pieces. Yeah, the Transformers 9, we've covered that, the ClubCon stuff, the Admit 1 stuff. The only one thing that I don't know if is on the website, the Transformers shop over at Battersea Power Station, which I still haven't yet been to, apparently they're going to be attending there. So it looks like maybe some like the exclusive merchandise and bits which you can get at the shop, they'll be bringing along there and having like their own little stall there, which would be pretty cool. I would like to go along there at some point and see what that's all about and get a bit of an idea of that. So yes, that will be very, very cool as well. And that is basically what's going to be happening at TFNation this year. I am really excited for it now. I feel like, you know, every year it's like a few weeks before, as I said earlier on, that like you start feeling excited for it, but this year, like, I really have just been feeling the hype since kind of like March, April sort of time. Quite a lot of this year I've really been thinking about TFN. Hopes, fears, do I have any? Hope to have a good time. Hope to see all you guys there. Hope to get some cool bits. Hope that you get some cool bits. Hope that I take enough money for food. Hope I get some cool figures. Hope I manage to catch up with everybody. Really glad that I'm doing a few more days of it this year just to kind of like bulk it out a little bit and, you know, get a bit more of the whole con experience. Hope I have enough room for everything in the suitcase, and hope I don't necessarily get really, really wham in the cosplay. So we will see. I love you all, stay awesome, and I shall see you all soon. See you at TFNation, people. Then, of course, we have Mr. Scott McNeil, who is unmistakably Dinobot and Rat Trap and Sylvanator. Sophia Mars, of course, of Transformers Age of Extinction fame. Very, very cool. Another voice, not blah, blah, blah. So that will indeed be very nice to meet Mr. Neil Kaplan at Auto Assembly. That kind of gives you about sort of 2 hours or so to get washed and ready and get ready for the evening. In fact,